So hello, everybody. How are you today? Hope you're having a fabulous day on this very fine Sunday. Well, here, you guys are probably going to hear a lot of thundering and lightning. It is like a monsoon out there. I think I need to borrow Donovan's hat. It is the perfect monsoon weather type of hat. Of course, that's Houston, Texas for you. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it doesn't rain, and sometimes it rains a lot. So anyway,
but it never rains in Southern California.
All right, y'all going through a drought. For what I understand, it's like a certified drought out there. So anyway, y'all, it is the Demetra Kaye show. Glad to have you here, Facebook and YouTube, the other side of the conversation. Also, thank you to the recovering Democrat. This topic is right up his alley today. Donovan Sadiq. And also thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything that he does behind the scenes. Now, listen. If for whatever reason my feed goes out, Donovan will take the helms until I get back because this storm that we're having is unpredictable. So my apologies up front. And so we are going to talk a little bit about Kamala Harris, I should say Vice President Kamala Harris. And then Donovan is going to fill us in on the latest findings of the census. And so before I get started, I'll give it to Donovan. What say you?
Man. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for tuning into the Demetra Kaye show. We love to have you here. And again, you guys in the comments, what is your opinion on a lot of these things that we're talking about? Let's have a conversation about it. Again, want to thank Marcus Guyton and everybody else that keeps coming on the show. And he does a lot of stuff behind these things. You guys don't ever hear him. Every now and then you might. He's our secret weapon that keeps us going. But yes, I will take the show from there. I have started to get my No Ma'am shirts together and my 1 million Black Men Against Demetra Kaye shirts together. So if you're interested, no, I'm joking. But it's going to be a very interesting conversation in regards to that because the census, if you guys have been paying attention to what they're talking about, oh my God, the white people are losing numbers. White people, why is that news? That's nothing new. But in these articles around the nation, they're not talking about Black people. And we're going to talk about that.
All right, everybody. So I'm going to give everybody just a moment to come on here. And before we do, I want to go ahead and show you guys a clothing line that I am actually wearing this shirt. I'm going to show it to you. It says, "Make Black Wall Street Great Again." And I'll show it to you guys in more specific detail. So here, bear with me. Oh, shoot, there's a slideshow. No. There's technology. Okay, here we go. Can y'all see that just fine? Donovan?
Yes, we can see it. Yes.
All right, so it says here, are you looking for the gear that says what you want to say without saying it? At the Diva brand shop, you will find all of that and more. Get your by birth or by birth with ancestry shirts. All proceeds from these shirts will go to the melanated market, which will help melanated people have a place of their own to sell their goods with no problems. There are also drawstring backpacks. Let me see if I can find them for us. See the backpacks down here, and it has a whole bunch of other sayings. What else we got? We got hats. And it says, as well as something for the coffee lovers and connoisseurs. Where is those at? See there? And it says, get your Galaxy astrology shirts. It says shirts, Galaxy design is handmade. Therefore, not one shirt is alike, and choose your own images. So please visit the Diva brand at thedivabrand.shop to get your gear for men, women, and children, and invite your friends and family. So there's astrology shirts there. And I will go ahead and put the link in the description box in a little bit here, but there you have it, stuff for kids and everybody. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to why we are here. So I want to read you guys' comments before I do. And so one, who cares? How you doing? I saw you were there early. Monet, what's going on? Same to you. And Tanaya, how you doing? Says, good afternoon, Demetra and Donovan. Happy Sunday. Robin, good evening to you. Steve, how you doing? And Pam, what up? Yes, very nice shirts from the Diva brand shop. Diva brand.shop. And so let's see, Morning says, happy birthday to me. Happy Sunday, Demetra and Donovan. I'm drinking my chocolate wine. Ooh, I want some chocolate wine. Glad that you guys are on. Thank you for making my Sunday. I appreciate you, both of you guys. Always real. Yes, indeed. And I think that was the end of the comments so far. All right. So anyway, I was reading along, as I often do, and I came across an article that says the Democrats are going to stick with Kamala, even though, she's had some issues as far as in the polls, right? Now, as I was reading, it says that some of the issues she's having is, you guys might have heard that she's had a cabinet shakeup where she's had cabinet, people leave. Again. So people who work within her administration, because before, like Donovan said, again, when she was campaigning to be president, a lot of people left because a lot of people weren't paid. They said she was mean and that she micromanages and won't allow new ideas and things like that come in. And somebody's probably going to say, "Oh, that sounds like a typical Black woman." I don't know. You guys, you guys draw your own conclusion. But she has only a favorability of 48%. Now, this is amongst Democrats, from what I understand. 45. I'm sorry, 45% favorability, 48 unfavorable. And it sounds like she is continuing to slump in the polls. So recently we were kind of all wondering, where's Kamala been? Well, maybe this is why. Now, it sounds like she and one of her chiefs of staff got into it. You guys remember when she was doing her tour of Mexico and different other Latin states, I guess, if you want to call it. And when she had the interview, and the guy, was it Lester Holt, I think it was, asked her, "Why haven't you gone to the southern border?" I think she asked about Mexico. She goes, "Well, I haven't gone to Europe either." So she was kind of flippant about that. And people was like, "Oh, okay, what's really going on here?" And it also said that Kamala is actually one of the most active vice presidents, I guess, in history, because most of the time when you hear of a vice president, you don't hear much of them at all, right? Like, how much did you see or hear of Pence? Rarely, right? Except when that fly jumped on his head. I was like, "Oh my God, there's Pence."
Well, one of the reasons why she is the most busy one is because Jim Crow Joe Biden puts all of the stuff that got him into office on her plate, so he doesn't reflect on him to have to do the work, so that when the blame comes, he can say, "Hey, it's on my agenda. My vice president is supposed to be taking care of that." Because remember, it was Black people that put this administration into office. So, the most important things that you think that a president that you voted into office would do at least part of your agenda. But no, he didn't do that. He said, "Oh, a Black agenda? Oh, this, that, the border? We'll put that over here on my vice president. In the meantime, I'm going to try to enrich my white friends with this big infrastructure bill so that we could still remain on top regardless of what goes on."
Right. And so that is partially true. Yeah, that they are, loading her plate, if you will, with things that really shouldn't be or hasn't been in the past, the vice president's responsibility. But, you can draw from that what you will. It could be for a whole host of reasons. He is the oldest president ever to serve. I don't know how he's doing health-wise, but maybe that's why she's taking the forefront on a lot of.
I don't want to cut you. Go ahead. Finish.
No, go ahead.
Well, you got to remember this. It doesn't matter how old you are as president. You could be 138 years old. You have a team that does the work. Remember, right. Trump? "I'm going to get the best people. Only the best is going to be in my cabinet." All of them were crooks. But anyway, you don't have to have a big capacity to be the president. You just got to have the right staff around you that runs your agenda, and then you take the credit. And if shit goes bad, you get the blame.
Right. Well, per the article I was also reading, I'm going to get to you guys' comments. It says that regardless, they're both married to each other, and so they've said that they put on her plate the illegal immigrants or migrants crossing the border. They tasked her with that, and also to expand voter access. So they put two big heavy hitters on her plate. And so they've also blamed the Democrats, the Biden administration, for the influx of immigrants coming in to America because, pretty much opened up the borders and allowed it to come in. And then they sent her back to the border and said, listen, don't come here. Because, you know, it found out it wasn't what they really wanted. And so she got shouldered with that, and it backfired, for lack of better words. But, you know, so the blame is on her. Now, I don't know if Biden is planning on running again. But if he is, or he's not, then obviously they would be trying to set Kamala up to run for the presidency. But from what it looks like now, looks like, you know, she's dropping the ball, and a lot of people aren't really happy with her. And some of the people they say aren't happy with her are college graduates, people making over $50,000 a year, people 65 and older, white men. There's no surprise there, right?
She ain't worried about it because black women and these black feminazis are gonna, well, she didn't do nothing for us this time, but you know, next time, so we got to vote her in because Trump's gonna come back. And that's what they're gonna go with. They're gonna go with the scare tactic of, you know, we got to get Kamala in if Joe doesn't run. But you know what I think, Demetra? Joe's gonna run in spite of, because something about that office, the hubris of it. They think that his attitude is no different than Trump's attitude when he was in there. The only thing they're missing is that cabinet meeting where everybody was grandizing Trump. Well, thank you, sir, for your great leadership and your awesomeness and your racism and, you know, and making America great again. And I want to lick your boots because you put me in this office. That's the only thing they're missing.
Right. So then it also says, it's going back to people quitting, you know, and things like that. Quote, it says, one person told Politico, the workplace is abusive and is described as a place where people feel treated like shit. And that is coming from the office of the vice presidency.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me these women, and I'm not generalizing, but I'm generalizing, but you guys know where I'm going with this. Miss Kamala Harris, who's supposed to be the champion of feminism, treats women just as bad as men so-called do, and people and subordinates treats them like shit? Continue.
So yeah, so she has some issues, and so I don't know where the people are that voted for her, like your sorors and, you know, the sororities, I guess, and fraternities too, because, you know, the men were just as vocal, and, you know, the baby boomers and a whole host of people that got her in there. It's like, where y'all at? We really been looking for y'all for a minute now. Y'all been missing in action, and we're a little concerned that maybe something you got sucked up somewhere. You know, the mothership, I don't know, the Bermuda Triangle, somewhere that you get sucked up. So she needs your help because she's failing miserably at the job, which is, again, is probably why you haven't seen her around much. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these comments. All right, and so Moni says, I like the shirts. If you can zoom in so we can see it more, I would love it. How do you go about buying it, and what is the cost? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link up in just a minute when I give it over to Donovan, but don't forget. Matter of fact, Donovan, take it over for a second while I put the link in, because I forgot.
Okay. Let's go back up to start some of these comments. We don't want to get too far behind here. And let's start with looking good, Mr. Demetra from Randy C. What's up, Donovan? What's up, everybody? The Pioneer, my man, the Pioneer says, let us pray to ease the pain of our brothers and sisters down in Ayati. There's a sad situation going on down there. And by the way, you guys, once again, Haiti has been hit with a earthquake, 300 people dead day one. They're still going through the stuff and checking for survivors and injured people. So Haiti's just going through it. Mass assassination by the Western powers, and now another earthquake. And a tropical storm is forming in the region. Sunlight, hey, good afternoon, family, and one who cares. I didn't vote for neither one of them clowns. Smart, you're a very smart person, neither did we. So very, very smart there. I put up a couple of links if you guys want to check them out. The Pioneer, Kamala, is that the woman who used to listen to Tupac back in the 80s? Yes, that Kamala. That's right. The one that smoked weed but locked up hundreds of black people, men and women, here in California while she was Attorney General, and laughed about it. why she's not in the polls, because the colonizers used her to get the black vote. Yep, I said what I said. Well, I don't think so. I don't really think so, because, you know, Kamala wasn't really popular with a lot of black people. That's why she ended up losing in the primaries. She came in 6th, and then she pulled out of the California primary before it actually took place, because if she couldn't even win her own home state, her political career was done. Because when the goods were exposed on her, remember Tulsi Gabbard just straight mugged her on stage and just said, you did this, and you did this, and Kamala just couldn't come with it, and she never came back from that. So that goes to show you, Kamala was selected by the Democratic Party. She wasn't selected by black people. She wasn't selected by brown people, and she definitely wasn't selected by women. She was selected by the Democratic Party because she was overwhelmingly rejected. So, what do you got, Demetra?
All right, and where did you leave off?
I'm at Steve's, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, at Moni's comment. Demetra, when can you do a show that deals with skincare?
When can I want to do a skincare? Okay, I don't know. And okay, let's see here. All right. So you read Steve's comment as well?
Yeah.
All right, so Moni. All right, and one of the cases exactly, Donovan. And Sean, how are you? Long time no see. Says Biden does not have the mental capacity to handle any of that. You know what? I tend to agree with you. I think that's probably why they put Kamala out as much as they do, because we haven't seen vice presidents act in that manner up until her, right? So, I mean, you would think, or is she the president?
But Trump didn't have the capacity either. The guy barely got past the 6th grade.
Now, do you think he was going to let anybody speak for him? No, because he's got an ego problem.
No, exactly. But like I said, it really doesn't matter, because you have a team around you that does.
Well, I guess the point we're making is because cognitively there is something going on with Biden, right? I mean, just
absolutely old age decline. Absolutely.
Right. Old age decline. So even if it's that, so that's probably why, you know, they put Kamala out as much as they did, but you know, she kind of disappeared a little bit.
Yeah, but see, when you do that and she has aspirations to being president herself, you really ruin a person, because all the onus of those programs fall on you, and then your opponent could use that against you if you do decide to run.
Which should really make her think about it, like, did they screw me on purpose? I mean, like, what's really going on, you know? And
she's used to that. Remember how she got her start?
Brother.
That's how she got her start. I'm just saying.
Anais, how you doing? And Morning says, I will not be supporting none of these low-life lying courts. Let's call them what they are now that I'm awake, thanks to this station giving me a wonderful insight and my own research. Never again. Well, we're glad that you woke up, because a lot of people need to be right behind you.
Yeah, and don't get us wrong. When we say this stuff, my value is different than Demetra's value. So I might vote on things that are in my interest, and she might vote on things that are in her interest. All we're telling you is, we're not telling you don't be a Democrat. We're not telling you don't be a Republican. We're telling you vote in your own interest. If we start doing that, I think we would be a better class of people, rather than them just taking us as a monolith and saying, oh, we got that vote, we ain't got to do shit.
Yes, indeed. The Pioneer says Sleepy Joe is using her to do his dirty work. Laugh out loud. Let her take the heat for this most controversial policies. That's why he sent her down to Guatemala to tell them to stay home, only to be insulted. Yeah, I mean, she clearly was not ready for, you know, that interview anyway, when he was like, well, I mean, what's the hold up, right? And then she got smart, you know, and I don't want to say it's typical, but she got smart because she couldn't answer the question. Instead of saying, well, you know what, we're working on it. Well, I haven't been at Europe either. It's like, okay.
Wait. So you're saying the diva attitude isn't cute on the world stage? Is that what you're saying?
Well, nah. Well, I mean, it was cute for a minute, you know, while she was, you know, dancing. It was cute then, you know. But you can't do that, you know, when you're the sitting vice president in the interview. Yeah, it's just like, oh, she don't know shit. And Frank, if I hadn't already, how are you? Wait, I think I skipped up. Let's see. I did skip up some comments. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yes, Frank. Hello. And he says, look how she did our people in Cali. No sympathy. Yeah, see, that's the thing, though. People tried, including me and Donovan, we tried to tell people, because we're Californians. what Kamala was like. But people got enamored by her being the first this and the first that. And, you know, she was dancing with her alma mater's band, Howard, and she was putting hot sauce on her little greens and stuff. We got, you know,
playing victim about being a side piece and all that other stuff, you know. I mean, I know it's not popular to say, ladies, but when you're in politics, politics is very brutal. I'm going to use any edge I can to make you look bad. That's just how the game goes. Then she tried to play the victim, like, oh, I wasn't a side piece, and look how they're trying to slut shame me and all this other stuff. Yes, that's how politics works. You can't think about all of the people that worked for 15, 20 years to get a position in California government, and all she did was sleep with the person and got appointed. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is, you know, she didn't work hard to get where she got. That's all I'm saying.
All right. And Sean, you say, I think Sean's, yeah, he says, Harris didn't do anything, so the courts intervened. And Randy, how you doing? It says, vote in Donovan 2024. Yes, indeed. Donovan's the man for the job. And one who cares said, I'll pass again.
I am a crook. I am a crook. I'm in it for the money. I'm in it for, see, at least I'm honest. I'm telling you, I'm in it for the money. You're Maxine Waters, all these other people, but I ain't going to get greedy. I just need about 5 million and I'm good. After that, I'll take care of everybody else. If I make 5 million, everybody else will, you know, everything will look great.
One who cares, you say she's a plantation mammy. Yeah, I've heard her likened to that before. I mean, I guess you could kind of call her that. You know, she's doing the dirty work for Massa, you know, Joe Biden. And Robin said, Trump can come back as far as I'm concerned. I'm not voting for the Asians, Arabs, Latinos, Mexicans, DACA, and all other groups issues black first, which is where we should have been originally, right? If we would have had that attitude, and I'm not saying, you know, us here, because a lot of us didn't vote for Joe Biden or Kamala, but if we all collectively would have had that attitude, we might have had something, right? So I'm with you. And Help Me 100, how you doing? He says, love her. So who do you love? And Steve says, they're going to get the so-called heavy hitters, Obama over Michelle Obama, et cetera, to help get her the votes.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. Remember Obama, after he left out, talking about, well, yeah, I think black people should have had reparations. Do you know that when Obama, Michelle, Oprah, and those agents come out, the polls for the Democratic Party go down?
Yeah, people are sick of them. Yeah, you're right. People are, at first, it was kind of like, woo, you know, they brought out the heavy hitters, you know, Obama and Clinton and them. And now people are like, yeah, we're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe again, okay? Go back to your 60-year-old birthday shindig.
People are suffering and you're having a massive party.
Okay. And the pioneer says, I'm not saying this because she's light-skinned, but Kamala has a pretty face, nice body, especially for a 55-year-old woman. I'm really surprised more black men didn't support her. Well, Donovan, you a black man. Why didn't any of that stuff help you out?
Shit, you can get a red bone anywhere. Just go down there, especially in Arkansas. They're all over in Arkansas. But anyway, that's another story. But no, the reason why a lot of people didn't support her, you know, and I have a lot of friends on the East Coast and stuff, and we used to say that during the election. If you're not from California and you don't know this woman's record, of course you're going to be like, oh, it's a sister, she's great, whatever. But the minute we told you to do your research and look at what this woman done, a lot of people were like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, my God. And that's what it was. I mean, unfortunately, here in California, a light-skinned girl, you can get a white girl if you want to. I mean, Mexican, whatever. It's no big deal here. But yeah, she's attractive and everything like that, but you definitely don't want to go behind Willie Brown, okay? So you don't want to do that. Number two, because those are some big draws we saw at the Capitol, right, Demetra? So,
you stupid.
But when people actually saw, you know, you could be beautiful on the outside, but as we are finding out, you could be totally demonic on the inside.
And then the other thing too, Pioneer, is that just assumes that, and I'm not saying you're saying that, I get the question that you're asking, but that assumes that black men, especially black men who are voting, are stupid. Like, I'm gonna fall for a big butt and a smile. I'll vote for her, you know, but really what would be the difference? Because a lot of people just voted for her on the strength of a lot of symbolism. So, I mean, that wouldn't have been too far off, right?
Yeah, but here in California, the people that were incarcerated under her AG tour, she was only AG for what, 6 years?
About
here?
that.
She, and just her, locked up more black people than any AG before her. And she backed the police in every bad raid and all this other stuff. Whatever the police were doing that was bad and really out there, she backed them up, hid evidence. And also there's a man on death row that she wanted to just put him to death regardless of the evidence. So, you know, when all that came out, people were just like, oh my God, oh my God.
Yes, indeed. Hello, C. Ruffin. How are you? Morning says, I think he should pick another vice president, and it would be nice if he could pick a full black woman this time, not someone that wants to be black only for a day when it suits her needs. I don't think he should be running at all anymore.
Yeah, no, you know, I respect your opinion on that, but I don't think it's a good opinion when you say pick somebody because they're black, pick somebody because they're, you know, Asian. Why don't we pick somebody that's going to do the work, regardless of what their background is? We have, I say this all the time, you have a problem with police culture in this country, right? Qualified immunity, black people being shot, murdered in the street, right? We've had police chiefs in major cities all around this country for over 30 years, and yet the culture hasn't changed. So just putting a black person in there, how does that better my life? How does that better your life? We have black people in all these power positions that do absolutely nothing. Jim Clyburn, number 3 Democrat in the House. Is our lives any better, or is it worse? Haven't the Democrats said that the number 1 problem in politics is money in politics? So why aren't they doing something about it? They have all the tools to do something about it.
And how did they, come from a meager living to being wealthy millionaires? And let's see here. I hope I got to see. Yes, Frank, you say Pioneer, she was locking us up in droves in Cali. And you also say Haiti was hit with an earthquake. Yes, I think at this point about almost 300 people have been killed. It's like, God bless Haiti. Oh my God. I mean, like, how much, should they endure? They just had an earthquake, a major one, in 2010. President was assassinated. So it's just a lot. The Clintons happened to Haiti, So anyway, say a prayer for them for real. And classy lady, you say, and how you doing, by the way? She can fell on For All I Care and Sleepy lying behind Joe. Yes, just lying. Martin says, Donovan, looking really sexy in that little cap. I like that. I would love to see you do more with your YouTube experience. When are you going to give some new podcast to meet you? Are you on Instagram? And then I used to say Kamala wasn't first choice. No, she wasn't. It was actually Amy Klobuchar. But then, they dug up some dirt on her as far as her not being very kind to black people. Specifically, a case of a young man who was tried as an adult for murder. He did not commit. His name was Myron something. I forget his last name. But the evidence pointed to him not being guilty. And she signed off on it. Matter of fact, she campaigned on locking him up. And it wasn't the right person.
Right. And then what really doomed her was, as a former prosecutor, she never went against police brutality and all that other stuff that came out in complaints. She never charged any policeman for that.
Mm-hmm. And then Robbie said, black men ain't supporting Kamala Harris like that. I can't believe some black people are willfully blind to Biden Harris pass. Shaking my damn head. Oh, yes, indeed. How you doing, Paid in Full? And Pioneer said, Brother Donovan, they raised the death count in Haiti to over 700 and counting. Is almost a loss for words what they continue to go through down there. 2 major earthquakes in 9 years. Oh, my God. Hey, Brother Samuel, how you doing? 11 years, Pioneer. And Sunlight, he says the black people who supported her only after a white man Biden picked her up should be ashamed. They needed white validation to make their decision. Yeah, because she tanked by herself. I mean, a campaign was broke and everything, right? But then, like you said, they gave her a stamp of approval. They being Biden, and it was all good. And Aaron, if I haven't already, how are you today? And so I won't read the replies. Let me see. I lost my place. This thunder.
D Maverick.
Where am I? Okay, wait. Okay, D Maverick, how are you? He says, open the border. That is a effing lie, a Trumpish lie. Biden has changed zero at the border for Trump. There were two candidates, Trump or Biden. Now from those two, what is your choice? Neither.
Yeah, and it came out that if you really go underneath the surface, and when it comes to the immigration policy, Biden basically has kept in place the Trump policy. They're still doing that. Isn't it funny how the media doesn't cover the kids that are still in cages and all that other stuff? They're just not covering it.
Yeah, just complete silence. Like, are they still in cages? What's really going on, right? And Kevin, how you doing? You said the YouTube channel. Well, I have a YouTube channel, yes, under the same name, and Donovan has one too. Donovan Sadiq. I forgot to put your information up, but I'll put it down in the comment section. Asada, how you doing? Says she got her start from the back. Y'all wowed. Okay, wow.
I'm gonna use that. Can I use that, please?
Wow. The Pioneer says, brother, if most black folks voted for candidates that promoted their own interests, most of our people would not vote. You're right about that. And Classy Lady says, same crooked wings on the same crooked old bird. Now, that ain't a lie at all, right? And I used to say, Kamala can't dance out of this truth. Right. Like, how you going to explain this away?
Isn't that the stupid dance that she does when she was doing the Cardi B thing?
Yeah. Maybe she needs a different brand of hot sauce for her greens. I don't know. And Asada said she wasn't ready, which is why she dropped out. Yeah, campaign was going broke. They didn't have money. People were quitting left and right because they said she was a witch, for a lack of better words. And so,
I remember
having now.
Yep, I remember 3 or 4 years ago in Oakland when she announced, we have a show. Go to Demetra's YouTube page or my YouTube page, and you will see me and Demetra doing our podcast on the day she announced, putting it out there and saying, hey, don't fall. Don't believe the hype. Don't fall for this.
Yes, indeed. Hello, Eric. He says, good evening, fam. Donovan, I see you ready for combat. D, got another book for you. Acres of Skin, Alan M. Hornblum. Okay, write that down, Donovan. Yes, indeed. And Asada saying this is a classic case of sleeping to the top does not pay. She is not qualified. No, I mean, she's like a lot of people. They sound good, right? They sound good, and I'm gonna, woulda, shoulda, and they just wait for it and all of that. But then she get out there and it's like, oh, she was really just a wagon that's making an empty wagon, making a lot of noise. That was it was really a lot of hype. I mean, she couldn't even pass a regular interview that was a little bit, of a hot seat, and she got an attitude with the guy. So
and this is when sleeping your way to the top goes wrong, because you become exposed. Like I said, there were way more women that were qualified, more so than her. But and I think it's wrong. All the way around, it's wrong. I don't care if you're a male or a female. Because she's sleeping with the Speaker of the House in California, she gets the notoriety of being put in positions to launch and jump off into a campaign when people that work their way from the bottom all the way up. It's totally not right. But see, ladies, I'm sorry. You ladies always co-sign the bullshit. You always do. And I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying, you guys know what I'm talking about. Don't say nothing to a black woman. Don't criticize a black woman. When are we supposed to criticize a black woman? When it's wrong, it's just wrong.
When you're dead, okay? When you're dead, if you know what's good for you. I'm just kidding. Oh, and I used to say, I can flip 5 million. Okay, well, do tell. And Carmen, how you doing? He says, white supremacy wanted Kamala, not the grassroots. That's something really to think about. So I really never kind of thought about it that way, I don't think. So really something to think about it. Brother Samuel says, all right, distinguished gentlemen. and I used to say black first only. Yes, indeed. Pioneer says, Brother Donovan is joking, but I seriously would be in it partially for the money, and I admit it. As long as my constituents made sure I was comfortable, I'd fight for them and make sure they were too.
See, but that's the thing, Pioneer. I don't have a problem with my elected servants, wetting their beak like the mafia says. I have no problem with that. But shouldn't I get some of it too? Shouldn't I live in a nice neighborhood? Shouldn't I live and have access to collective financing and all that other stuff? That's all we're saying. It doesn't make, look at the white neighborhoods. Why are the white neighborhoods looking the way they do, but then the Democratic areas look like crap? Because the white neighborhoods make sure that their constituents get a little bit of it and they get their money.
And their constituents hold them accountable if they don't, right? And so, Carmen, you say, what? She was putting black men in jail? Yeah, and and in some cases she was keeping them there. Perfect example is Kevin Cooper. You guys look him up. Kevin Cooper was accused of various heinous murders in, I think, 1983. Had all of the Inland Empire, Riverside shook, right? People were terrified thinking it was Kevin Cooper. Anyway, it was like 4 or 5 white people that were murdered in Chino Hills. Kevin Cooper escaped from prison at the time, and so they pinned it on him. But there's been a whole bunch of evidence saying that it wasn't him, including, a confession of one of the guys who did it. His girlfriend at the time confessed, showed them where the bloody clothes and everything were, just the DNA didn't match. And then they had an opportunity. Well, no, they never really did a DNA test on Kevin Cooper, because remember, back then DNA testing wasn't, I don't even know if it was a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a science. They had it, but it wasn't a foolproof science.
So now they have an opportunity. Now, this is 1983. They had an opportunity 2019 to DNA test them. And at the time, Kamala was like, no, I'm not going to bother with it at all. But she didn't get on board until Governor Brown, who was getting ready to leave, and Barbara Boxer, and Dianne Feinstein.
Barbara Boxer.
They all got on board and said, give this man another DNA test. And then she says, oh, okay, because he had seen the 11th hour like 3 times, where he got a stay of execution 3 times. And so they have DNA tested him, I think last year sometime. So I guess they're just really kind of waiting. But the evidence so far said it wasn't him, but she didn't care. She was like, oh, well. So there's a lot of stories like that.
Yeah. And again, Carmen, if you didn't know that, that's my point. If you don't live in California and you don't know this woman's record, you will be shocked. The Supreme Court told her she had to release the prisoners, nonviolent offenders, out of the jail, right? Kamala Harris sued and appealed that decision and then what did she say to keep her decision, to argue it? She said that it would hurt the prison convict work program. Basically,
she said it was free labor. She didn't want to let go of the free labor.
Right. It would hurt the free labor thing. So when we have fires here in California, the majority of the firefighters that fight the fires here in Southern California are prison labor people who go out there for $1 a day. And she didn't want to release that.
So there's a lot of stories like that. And Steve says, who wants to sleep behind a white man anyway? And somebody says, man, how telling is that of what you think of black men? You think they vote on physical appearance? Really? Yeah, I mean, that's why I said I think it's, kind of a low blow to black men, especially intelligent black men who, like you could look like, Magilla Gorilla as long as you're doing something for us, right? And he says demonic activities need to be demolished. Yes, indeed. And you also say she's sinister. I agree with you. Asada says she is not foundational Black America or ADAR or American descendants. What's the end?
Slaves.
Of slaves. I just see the end. Said we better start checking lineages.
Well, here's the thing with that. Like, so I agree with you in principle, but what if a white person? I mean, what's her name? Marianne Williamson. Wasn't she a white woman and she brought reparations to the major stage? So should we shun her for at least trying and bringing it up, because black folks weren't bringing it up?
But I heard I forgot to look, but then they say she was tripping too with black people. So we gotta look and see.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, though, my point of that is, do we shun other groups if they're doing the work?
Yes, if they down for the cause, trying to help black people, then we definitely should give them a look, right? And Carmen says Biden is not getting a second term. I agree with you, because people are pissed. Especially if you live in California. What y'all paying for gas up there? Like $6?
Yeah, if you go to Chevron and the major oil companies, like about $6. But if you go to like Arco, you're about $5. It's like $4.53 right now for the cheapest. Yeah. But guess what though? People are not pissed at Biden. White people love him. Hispanics love him. LGBTQ love him. Asians love him. The only people that are pissed at Biden are the people that put him in office. And those are the black people that are waking up and saying, this smug did all of this.
True, but a lot of people are pissed at Biden. You got the student loans, the forgiveness thing he hasn't delivered on. What else?
We just pulled out of Afghanistan after all that money and treasure, and he voted for it.
But now he's sending them back because they said they're sending about 1,000 more troops back over there because the Taliban is like, yeehaw.
See, the funny thing, when I was over there, we were saying that from the beginning. These guys are going to melt away, and all they got to do is wait us out. That's all they have to do.
It wasn't that long, though. It wasn't even that long at all. It was like, wait a minute. Which also makes you wonder, well, did they ever really go away?
No, they didn't. It's just a point of they just wait us out until.
But I'm making a correlation. Or are they in cahoots?
Exactly. They're over there for the resources and the poppy seeds and all that other stuff.
I'm just asking questions. All right. Eric says no such thing as a full black person in America. Politics change people. Yeah, you're right about that.
That makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And Frank says, how about pick somebody that has an agenda for us? Yeah, I mean, I'm with it. Whoever that might be. And, as Dr. Claude Anderson says, hold them contractually to that. Don't just say, well, I'm going in there and I'm going to get some chocolate sodas for all Negroes. Make sure they sign on the dotted line that if we send you, you're actually going to do something for black people, right?
I got a homework assignment for you guys right now. Name me one black person in Congress or the Senate right now that is following the black agenda. Barbara Lee was like the last black person that had some sense, because she was the only one that voted against the war after 9/11. But even she sold her soul now. I mean, so who's representing us?
Right. All right. I see a lot of comments, so I'm going to get through them. Robin say a lot of black women only voted for Kamala because she was in a sorority and went to a HBCU. Other than that, they didn't care who won the presidency.
But what's crazy about that, Robin, is most of those black women never went to a HBCU, and most of them got student debt and dropped out of college.
Stop it. And Carmen, yes, you say over 700 deaths. So yeah, that was a correction. Last time I saw, it was about 300, but 700, that's just, my God, how much more can Haiti endure, And Moni says, I think you both would do wonderful as state representatives, senators, even city council representatives. Donovan, I can see you running in your state as state representative, senator, or county executive. Great skills.
Yeah, well, the problem is I have burnt a lot of bridges here, as I helped burn down the second oldest black publication in the United States and got rid of the publisher of that person as a representative. And the Democratic Party here in California knows me. The NAACP hates me. The Urban League, you name it. If it was black affiliated, I'm the devil. And all the national pastors of California even are mad at me. So,
right. He's got to tread lightly around there. So I'm going to get to some of these other comments. Robert says, Biden said they're going to put y'all back in chains. He did. And he's doing his part to make that happen. People need to start paying attention. Yes, indeed. And Eric said, is the illusion of inclusion same play, book, different day? Yes, indeed. And hey, Jonelle, how are you doing? And West End KC, how you doing? He says that title though, yeah. You like that picture too? Those are actually my Chucks and my daughter's pearls. We did not wear them on that day. We just happened to have them together. Hey, Vaughn, how are you? And Anais, you say Frank Red Hot is the best hot sauce. Yeah, maybe she needs that. And, next time as she's sprinkling it on her greens and, all that nonsense. Sean says, I don't know why black people voted for them. It's not a secret that the Democrat incumbents only show up in the black areas during election and then disappear, but were a total no-show this last time around. Yet black communities expected major changes. I'm part of the black community. Donovan is, and I know everybody else on here, we didn't expect that. We knew. It's like history says, right? Like, why would this time be different? And if you guys are on Facebook or in a different, viewing this from a different platform, you can click on the link, and I would love to read your comments if you got something to say. Pioneer says, sis, before I forget, I checked out Earl Nightingale. However, I didn't find him as motivational as Napoleon Hill, though. No, he's one of those soothing listens, if you will, you know. But I've listened to The Strangest Secret. I can't tell you how many times, but listen to it anyway. There's some good jewels in there. And Dr. No Job, how you doing? You say, now my family member said I was right about Biden. I said, no, the grassroots was right about Biden. I think you meant. And Jonelle says, this is where sleeping your way to the top goes wrong. Hilarious, Donovan. Right. I mean, you did be reading some books while you know, lying down. Read some books. And Steve says, some of our Black sisters need to be decolonized. Yes, indeed. And throw some of them brothers in there, too. And C. Robin says, yes, the Democrats. You also say neighborhoods look like crap. Yes, a lot of the Democratic neighborhoods, which you could also call Black neighborhoods, horrible. Horrible. I mean, it's just garbage everywhere.
It's almost like crime only happens in those borders.
Or it's just like it's just left behind. Like, you know, just there's no progress at all. And I've had an eye-opening experience with the last couple of weeks. And that I've just, you know, it just really changed the way I see things. It's crazy. It's like night and day.
Wait, you're talking about Houston, right?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So you've been touring down there. Great.
Yeah. And let's see here. And then Pioneer says, Brother Diamond, I'm with you. I don't have a problem with my leaders and representatives living lavish as long as they are passing that wealth down to me and my community. Look out for me and I'll look out for you. Yeah. I mean, you don't want your leadership to be poor, but you don't want to be suffering either, right? And Carmen says, I was being sarcastic. I was living you said during the terror reign of Kamala, the Bay Area. So I had a front row seat to the Willie Brown. You ain't lying.
Oh, okay, yeah. I kind of figured you probably were being sarcastic, but just for the people that might not know,
right? Yeah. So you had a front row seat. You know, I was born in Berkeley. I lived in Oakland for like 1 or 2 years of my life.
And when Willie Brown came to the state capitol, Demetra jumped up with the rest of them old went out to the lobby.
You were live. Donovan and I had an unfortunate trip to Sacramento, to the Capitol, and Willie Brown walked through the lobby, and those old birds got up and got the cackling. It was like, oh, Willie Brown. I was like, who?
Come on, let me take a picture with me and Willie. Come on.
Yeah, so they made me go take a picture with Willie Brown.
A meeting, and these old birds got up and just left the meeting.
And when I saw him, I was like, I guess. Okay.
The word is he has some gyro tongue action.
Now, come on, son. Really?
He got Kamala. Bought her a Mercedes or a BMW at the time, a brand new one, so she can get around. She must have been putting it on him.
Shut up. TJ, how you doing? He says, Kamala Harris is a white supremacy tool. Yes, indeed. And Robin says, she is sinister and nefarious. Yeah, she is. I really do get sinister vibes from her. You know, it's
listen to her cackle.
Yeah, like a used car salesman or something. No shade to used car salesman, but or like some life insurance agents. And Penelope, how you doing? He says, I don't love Jim Crow Joe. I'm glad you don't, because he don't love you either. And Frank says, everybody loves Biden. He's right. Okay.
Are we, is today, I mean, wait. Have we reached a point as a people to where we have to be sarcastic to keep from crying?
Yeah, that's what they say. Laugh to keep from crying. Yes. Yeah. And Brother Sammy says, concerning Haiti and Afghanistan and COVID-19, this pestilence from heaven, Matthew 24:7, for a nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Well, we're definitely seeing that going on. And if you don't believe now, I don't know what will make you believe, right?
Yeah, and I want you guys to do your homework. Go back and watch The Omen 3 and tell me if that is not Donald Trump.
Mahoney says, Demetra, what I'd like to know is when You don't support Biden naturally, and you never would support Trump or any Republicans. What advice would you and Donovan give for people that's confused? Let us know.
Wait, let me answer that real quick. See right there, Moni? That is the problem. We've been brainwashed to think you could only vote for this one or that one. That's not true. I voted Green Party, or I don't vote at all, because what it is, especially the Democratic Party, if they feel that there's no penalty to pay, they're going to get your vote anyway, so they don't care, right? Guess what? Stop voting for them and see how many elections they win.
Yeah, because then they'll say, the thing they'll say is, well, when you vote third party, that it splits the vote, but it's like, who cares? We're not benefiting from that vote anyway. But what it shows the dominant parties, the Republicans and Democrats, if you will, is that the black vote is not to be taken for granted anymore. You will have to earn this. Otherwise, we'll throw our vote away, or like Donovan says, we'll hold it until we get something for it. It's that simple. And like Donovan said, we got to stop buying into, I have to vote for this one or that one. It's just, it's like it's a this or that option. It's not. You can say, I don't have to do that. That's also your right as a voter to abstain until you get something for it. Like, I give this analogy all the time. You walk into the store, you want a pair of red shoes, and they don't have red shoes. They say, well, we got some blue shoes. Are you going to just, or they don't have any shoes at all? Are you just going to leave your money and then leave out of there without any shoes? You wouldn't do that. So why would you walk into the voter's booth and just leave your vote and don't get anything in return? So think about it that way. And emulated origins, how are you doing? And Pioneer says, I seriously believe a lot of our people sell out because so many of our people are just petty and think their leaders should be poor. Some leaders wouldn't argue with them and just sell the hell out. Okay, like a lot of them have already done. And Frank says the Taliban, my comment jumped up. Ooh, I hate when that happens. Let's see. He says the Taliban is an American group. So you picked up what I was putting down. And Tonesia, how you doing? He says, my timeline is quiet. Yeah, where they at? Where are all these people that was rooting for Kamala and Joe? Where they at? And Robin says, Biden used the black votes to elevate everybody except for black people. If that's not an eye-opener, nothing is. I'm with you. Like, it is. I'm going to say y'all over there, not y'all, but black people put Kamala and Joe back in the office after they showed their whole entire booty this time around. Then, hey, we get what we got. You know?
Do you guys realize in the last 4 months, Joe Biden hasn't done anything. Nothing has come across his desk. So what is the excuse for him not doing an executive order for black people? What is it for him not to forgive student debt? They keep throwing the ball. He keeps saying it's Congress. Congress keeps saying it's him. It's a shell game. The president unilaterally has the power to forgive student debt, period. All it takes is an executive order. It can't be challenged by the Supreme Court. It can't be challenged by anybody. He alone has that power. But yet we sit here. Now, that's an everybody thing. But think how many black people, especially you black educated women, because you guys are the most educated group, how that would help you guys. But he hasn't done it. But y'all put him in office.
Yes, indeed. And TJ say black first always. Brother Sammy says, by the way, my YouTube name is Super Sam Clark. Set it up years ago. I figured that out after that particular show when I saw it. And Robin say none of them. And Frank says no one. That's easy. And Tonesia says a lot of them on my timeline have gone to HBCUs. And they're pretty quiet, huh? They haven't said anything about their homegirl, Kamala.
Oh, no, girl, I'm not in politics no more. I'm on vacation. I'm over here. I got to go do that. I don't do politics no more. Don't include me in that, girl. That's their excuse. Don't include me. You look at all the damage you just did. We have less than 9 years. 9 years to get this right, and you just cost us 4.
Crazy. Pam says, joke, Biden has lost his damn mind. He can't even finish a complete sentence. He asked Don Lemon if he was okay after he took the jab, then went off to talk more jibber jabber, shaking my damn head. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think they really be putting Kamala out there, right? And Asada says, I cannot wait to get them Dems out of office. they are ruining the country, and a lot of people feel that way.
But then again, the Republicans weren't doing no better. Remember, these are the same people, okay? Remember, it was the Democrats who opposed civil rights legislation. Then they turned into Republicans and left some Democrats in the party. So that later on, I mean, read the Monahan report. It tells you exactly what's going on here. These are the same people.
Yeah, but read the Monahan report, you know, with research it as you read it, because a lot of it is skewed as well, right? It doesn't tell the whole story. And TJ, you say no one. And Mona says, let's face it, Demetra, it's never been good for us. I was glad that they did put a person of color that at least have some form of black in them, but that's not enough. She should have been for the black people, right?
See, and there we go right there. I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm glad, you know, you're happy about that. But what you got was symbolism. That's all you got was symbolism. Oh, it's a black face. Okay. How does that put more money in your pocket? What legislation is she pushing to help you in your community? Nothing. Zero. So if a black person's going to do that to you, I'd rather have a white person do that to me.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that was a symbolism, but she told us, I'm not going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, she told us. She wasn't hiding it. She told us. And yet we went out there and overwhelmingly put her in office. So, I mean, it's like, what do we expect, you know?
And we were castigated because we weren't supporting the Democratic ticket. I mean, they talked about us like, woof.
I mean, even Donovan's auntie deleted me as a friend on Facebook. But she didn't delete her nephew, though. And Donovan was acting up way worse than I was. But somehow, you know, a lot of Donovan's female friends have deleted me. They just don't hate me for some reason. Donovan, get him a check. And Galen, how you doing? It says late, but here, Demetra, you looking real shiny, babe. All right. I hope that's a good thing. He said, what up, Donovan? And Big Cannon, you actually asked the question that we're going to get to. Says, and how you doing, by the way? Says, how is everyone doing? I have a question for Donovan. What do you think about the latest census report that came out? So let me get to the rest of these comments, because Donovan is going to give us his take on it, because he read it. And the Pioneer, you say, I've heard some people pushing the FBA Foundational Black Americans narratives who were strongly anti-Black immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean, but wanted to make alliances with Latinos and Caucasians. Their agenda was clear to me. Yeah, that's not how that works. It shouldn't anyway. Weston KC says, this brother on the right seems very woke. I like and respect this king. Oh, yeah, Donovan got some sense. For sure. And one who cares said, love this channel, and we love you too. And D says, we had the choice, Biden or Trump. You had more choices, but that's what they kept pushing, right? It's one or the other. And, you know, what did Malcolm X tell us about choosing the lesser of two evils? He said it's still choosing evil. So, like, is there a good evil, or is there a better evil, or just evil is evil? And we ask people, honestly, and you guys probably did the same, if you really put Biden and Trump's records next to each other, if you really did your homework and your research, who was the less evil? And
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump was the less evil if you really did your homework. And I'm talking about in regards to black people, because that's what we always gonna be talking about, black people. Who was more evil? It was Joe Biden when it came to black people. But no, they sold us the narrative that we just got to get Trump out of office. But they never told you to ask the question and get what in return. Never told you to ponder that. You just
everybody forgets this. This is what kills me about, you know, and I'm a political junkie, so don't get me wrong, you guys. So I'm not mad at people that don't know. I eat this shit up. Donald Trump is a Democrat posing as a Republican. He's a lifelong Democrat.
He said it too on Oprah's show. I can run as a Republican and win. And what did he do? All right, let's see. Mona says, when you look at Karma, I think Kamala is married to, you know, she was never going to do for a black man, black woman. Let's tell it like it is. But why would you, speaking on, I dislike for her, who do you have in mind? All right, let me get to the rest of these comments, and then we'll get into that as well. And I says old birds. Yeah, they was old birds just cackling away when they seen Willie Brown. TJ said, ew. And Tanisha says, I knew it in my gut that once he got in office, it was going to be trouble. Yeah, I mean, he showed us who he was plenty of times, but somehow we just thought it was going to be different. And family say, if you follow the new black media, then you would know who to vote for or not to vote for. I didn't vote for anyone who didn't have my interest at heart. And that's the way I will vote or vote from not vote from now on. And that's the way it's got to be. Got to start waking them up.
Your interest, not the Democratic Party. Have you guys noticed that whenever you vote these people in the Congress, they go there and they say, well, the Democratic agenda. Mofo, I didn't send you to do the Democratic agenda. I sent you to bring the bacon home to this district.
Right. Like, what about us?
Yeah. What is this Democratic agenda stuff?
Yes, indeed. All right. And Pioneer says, I get the same vibes from Kamala that I got from Hillary Clinton, a kind of fakeness. It's as if they are actresses who are doing a poor job at acting because of the over emotional gestures. Yeah. The one who cares is absolutely.
And by the way, Pioneer, I don't mean to cut you off. Kamala was picked by Hillary Clinton as a protege to come up. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. Tanisha, you say point blank period. And LB, how you doing? And thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. I guess it's the super chat is what it is. So thank you so much for that. And you say that's exactly how the Dems feel. They don't have to work for the votes. They take it for granted. Yeah. And and now I don't even know if they're taking our vote for granted anymore. I just think they're like, oh, well, we got it. We don't they don't even have to really cater to us anymore. I mean, think about it.
That's part of the Monahan report.
They help but they help everybody but black people. We're getting this whole trickle down thing.
Right. The CBC. I had to correct myself. The CBC does not represent black people. They represent everybody. And when it is statistically proven that when we are included in an everybody agenda, we are the least likely to benefit from it.
Yep.
Affirmative action, which is supposed to be specifically for black people. Demetra, please tell these people who benefited from affirmative action more so than anybody else.
White women, because they are considered a minority. And that's why Dr. Claude Anderson told us to stop calling ourselves minorities, because when you do that, you're lumped in with everybody else, including that of white women, because they're considered a marginalized people, right? And so they actually benefited the most from affirmative action that was actually supposed to help black people. So anyway, and TJ says, I held my black vote and I'm so glad I did. Black first. Yes, a lot of people did. And we need to continue to do it, right? Pioneer says Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton were actors like most politicians, but they were good at it. A good politician, like a good actor, knows how to make you think they are sincere. Oh, for sure. And Jonelle says the system of political hypocrisy will never service the masses without nothing but lies, hypocrisy, and BS on top of and sides. The majority of blacks in so-called positions of power will only be black slavers serving the illusion of inclusion. We must unite and build our own reality, or else we are slaves to white rule thinking. We are free. We need a true liberated state of being. Enough said, brother. And Tanisha says, but in this day and age, we should have not gotten played the way it did. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have. You're right.
Yeah, well, here's the problem, Tanisha. Our parents, they were the ones, we appeal to authority. Well, I don't want to say mama said, I marched with Martin Luther King. They're going to throw that in your face. I marched with Martin Luther King. I grew up on the civil rights era. Oh, John Lewis. And these people like, y'all got to just vote for y'all just follow us. Y'all vote the way we tell y'all to vote. That's what happened.
Well, what more do you want? You got the right to vote. You got to eat and then sleep next door to white people. And it's not
y'all. And this is how y'all act. We marched and got our asses beat. Y'all motherfuckers didn't do nothing in the 70s. Look at y'all. Y'all don't even take care of your damn kids. They living with me. Come on now.
Oh, you crazy. And Eric says Haiti is going through it. I don't think it's a coincidence that president was assassinated and now earthquake. These folks can alter weather and create disasters. I 100% agree with you. We know America was complicit in the murder of that president. They'll never admit it, but come on. History tells us, right?
Assassination in the Western Hemisphere, which the United States, by the Monroe Doctrine, says that we have the right to police all of this hemisphere, To think that it's China or somebody else is ridiculous. We control everything that goes on in this Western Hemisphere through assassination, corporation, and mercenary business.
Yes, indeed. And Alcy, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says Judge Joe Brown said she screwed her way to the top. Yeah, that's the word.
You wasn't wrong. I mean, that's the way. I mean, in layman's terms, that's what she did.
Yep. All right, get to the rest of these comments. And Tonisha said they literally gave 2 cents. And Warrior Scholar, how you doing? He says anything anti-Black in Senate and Congress becomes historically bipartisan. Okay. And Tanisha says nothing. Go and get the jab. Right. That's what they tell you. Right. And LB says Jim Crow always been a racist. I didn't vote for either party. I wrote in my own candidate, John F. Johnson, aka Grand Master J of NFAC. Yeah, that's another. They don't tell you you have the option to write people in. Now there was one election, people was writing in Harambe and Hello Kitty, and I mean, but even honestly, like it's funny, but you get the same results from a Harambe or Hello Kitty presidency, right? Nothing. So,
but think about this, you guys. How do you have people that have been in office for 30, 40 years that have shown you nothing, have done nothing for you, and yet they keep getting reelected every 2 years? Whose fault is that? I can't blame Joe Biden for that. So let's be fair. You can't blame Joe Biden for that. These people are getting elected. Jim Clyburn is in one of the poorest districts in South Carolina. No, matter of fact, the poorest district in South Carolina. How does this man keep getting reelected?
Right. Apathy amongst Black people, probably, most likely. And let's see here. The Pioneer says, let's keep it real. Afghanistan and the Mexican border is just as much Trump fault as Biden's. They have 4 years to remove the troops from Afghanistan and build that wall on the border, but didn't do it.
No. Well, here's the thing, Pioneer. Remember, it was the revolt of the generals and the major corporations. That's why Trump wanted to do it. The second year Trump was in office, he was like, I'm removing the troops. All the generals came down on him. And the bipartisan, the Democrats and the Warhawks, they all said, no, we're making money. Don't do this.
Yep.
And he kept them in power. And speaking of, I talked to you guys about, some of my stocks that I deal with. I'm a military man. I get most of my stocks in the defense industry, right? I just got paid a hell of a lot of a dividend that just happened. And as a matter of fact, the military just got paid a couple of weeks ago in the last budget continuation. You can't go wrong. Even when the military screws up, how many billions of dollars have we put into our intel? Okay, I want you to think about this. 9/11. Oh, we gotta beef up our intel division, right? We put billions of dollars into it, so 9/11 doesn't happen anymore. What just happened in Afghanistan? How did we not know that the Taliban was going to come back and do all of these things
like that?
Where is our intel? We're just throwing money out of the windows, you guys. I mean, you got to look at it for what it is.
I mean, it's like, how did we know they was going to come back and they didn't know? I mean, it was like overnight. They was like, okay, they on the plane, let's go, And Marty says, let's face it, she's evil, wicked, and demonic. No one need to more to be said. The question is, once again, who is the better candidate? Other than her, we can spend all day talking about this, but what is it achieving? We'll get into that. I want to get to the rest of these comments so Donovan can give us his spiel on the census. And one who cares said, I went to a HBCU, but I paid attention and passed on Kamala. I'm glad you did. And Terry, how you doing? You say symbol without substance. Yes, indeed. That's exactly what we got. Martin says, Malcolm once said it best in the 1960s, whites can help if they feel like, but they must never lead, I think he meant, be suspicious whenever they want to join something because it's just to divert attention. I think he meant away from what it is you're doing. You're absolutely right. He did say that. Be leery of some white people wanting to join in and be at the helm of organizations.
They can help us, but they can't. Right.
Yes. And Jonelle says America is ran by the bulk of the revenue. These politicians and POTUS is not going to do anything to alter their revenue and their motion revenue over the citizens. Their wars are evidence. Their positions on disease is evidence, and so forth. This nation is whoredom. Revenue over everything, especially its citizens. Exactly. And Marty says Biden has stated that come next month, they're going to go over the budget that's going to deal with student loans and housing. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, he refuses to take
wait
off, really.
Yeah, I want you to remember this. The midterms are coming up. why go into session if the country's in such a bad situation? How do you have time to go on vacation? 7 million people were facing eviction, and you decided to go on vacation, but yet you're the Democratic Party who's supposed to be for the people.
Well, they said it was a schedule. It was pre-scheduled. The vacation
doesn't matter. But when the country's in crisis, we're supposed to go on vacation?
Well, that's okay. They're going to vote first anyway again, so we're going on vacation.
Right, but think about this. As time is ticking, if I had an agenda and I'm going against, you're losing time because you got to do the whole, whatever the rules are.
Maxine Waters and them was tired. They were tired. Okay, they need all that work they're doing.
Then, when the Democrats lose the House, what's going to be their excuse? Oh, we lost the House, so look, the Republicans are obstructing.
Like what they did with Obama.
Do you guys see this game? This is what they do.
Because you're right. I mean, there's a lot they could do. They're just not doing it. But the same thing happened with Obama. Oh, his hands were tied. Well, he had Congress, for 2 years of his presidency. I mean, so it's something he could have done. He just didn't do it.
Exactly. Nancy Pelosi could bring a study vote to the floor anytime. Why hasn't she done it? The country's in crisis. So you mean to tell me their vacation time is more important than country time? If we got attacked right now by a country, do you think that they're going to stay on vacation? Or do they say, oh, we're in crisis, we need to come into special session? She can call them into session anytime she wants.
Maybe she got locked in her ice cream freezer. I don't know. And Tanisha says they were saying off with Trump's head. Yep. And then LB says, talk about it, Sister Demetra and Brother Donovan. We going to. Jonelle says, we learn from history. That's that we do not learn from history. Carmen, you say yes. And Robin says, exactly. That's what I tried to tell some of our people. Trump was less evil if you're going to vote for the lesser two evils. Yeah, they weren't hearing it, though. You tried. I know you did, because I know we tried. And Moni says the minimum in student loan, and that's those, I think you're talking about the 50,000 who got vocational skills like hospitality, truck driving, barbering, esthetician, I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think the minimum should be up to 35 off. Sentimental.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Oh, okay. They ran together.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. But the thing is, though, he won't do that. You want to know why, Moni? Because the banks depend on that interest from those loans of you being in debt.
Yes, indeed. And Frank says, LB, he sure did run for president, huh? And says, my pleasure, LB. Yes, thank you so much once again for that. And Pioneer says, Queen, I know you disagree with this, so I'll be careful. But the latest census gave people the option to choose mixed or other, which is good in my opinion, because many Black folks weren't really Black. And Donovan's going to get into that. I just want to read you guys' comments on this. And then Janelle says the CDC did the Tuskegee experiment, and now they're doing the jab experiment. And let's see here. And I'm gonna go to some of the other shorter questions or comments. I'm sorry. Antonita says we look like idiots. I'm sorry. And Steve says preach Donovan. Cortez, how you doing? He says hello, Donovan and Demetra. I voted for Trump based on his policies, which is what you're supposed to do, right?
What you're supposed to do. Your interest. You.
Yes, indeed. And Carmen says, yes, the U.S. hates Haiti. Yeah, and Haiti.
No, we don't hate it. What it is we want to turn it into a resort area like Cuba. We can't deal with Cuba anymore. We got our asses kicked over there. So now we try to take over other countries that are less fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, look what the Clintons did. I don't think that was we know it wasn't an accident, right? Wasn't an accident. They went over there and tried to destabilize their government, and the assassination of this president is just more of the same. I'm telling you, I read a book. Where is that book? Tattooed Soldier. This book. I read this book years ago. Tattooed Soldier. It talks about that. It talks about what it's a fictional book, but it's really, really good. Talks about how the United States destabilizes other governments, obviously for financial gain, right? To get a stronghold on their resources. But this is a really good book, The Tattooed Soldier.
Yeah, look at your history. How do you think Hawaii became a state? What happened to Hawaii that got us into Hawaii to begin with? The corporations got us to start to deal with Hawaii, and we took over that kingdom, and thus the rest is history.
Yes, indeed. Pam says, whoever's running the next election, and then after we need to do some excessive background checks, one candidate before we vote for them. We must fully vet these candidates. No excuses. Absolutely. Carmen says, sure do. And ridiculous thoughts. Thank you so much. I appreciate the donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome. And Pioneer says, many may disagree with this, but I personally think there are less actual Black people in this nation than the figures claim. I believe they hide our true numbers so as not to alarm us at the depopulation. All right, we're going to get into it. And Penelope says, I'm done with politics. I'm done. I think you're in good company with a lot of people. And Emulated Origins, you say, you look beautiful, mama. Oh, well, thank you. Says, Elegant, I love your style. Oh, thank you. You are talking about me, right? I'm just kidding. Antoine, how you doing? He says, hello, Queen Demetra and brother Donovan and room. Pioneer says, I think this latest census saying that there are fewer white people in the nation was actually a dog whistle and alarm bell for racists to beef up the white population. Why else report it so much? That's it. We're going to get into it because you actually hit on something that I didn't really think about.
Well, you know what? The Pioneers basically have done most of my narrative, but keep going, Pioneer.
And tonight it says death toll just rolls to over 1,200 dead in Haiti. Damn. I'm serious. Like, I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm like, what is really going on? They haven't even recovered from the 2010 earthquake. It's just, it's I can't even describe how horrible that is. And Big Cannon says, Donovan, what do you think about Nina Turner's election laws? Was that the Republicans from the suburbs came and voted Democrat to make sure she lost by putting Chantel Brown?
Well, as you guys know, Chantel Brown funneled $17 million to her boyfriend or her significant other, whatever the deal is. Hillary Clinton came out for her. James Clyburn came out for her. I would have to question when the corporate Democrats back a certain candidate that is under an ethics violation for what she's done. And Chantel Brown's background, just like what's her name said, we need to do background studies on these people, shows that she really doesn't do anything for Black people. Nina Turner got defeated by big money at the last minute. And that's all it came down to.
Yeah, because my thing is, have we not wised up already? Like, if Hillary Clinton, Jim Clyburn, and Biden are backing a candidate, that should have told you to run the other way. I would think, right? But it didn't happen.
What do you think Chantel Brown's going to do? She is now beholden to those special groups that put her in the office.
I'll tell you in 2 words: status quo. That's what she's going to do. And Pioneer says, also, while they say Latino population has increased, we need to understand that many Latinos are white and most of them identify as side with white. So those figures are still deceptive. And the real LOC.
Pioneer, keep doing my narrative. Keep going, brother. Send him a link so he can get on the show and explain this stuff.
All right. I think I'm getting toward the bottom. And he says, the real LOC. You say, hello, everyone. Black first. Yes, indeed. And how are you? And Tunisia, you say, agree. And Janelle says, 8 years of zero from Obama says enough. Okay.
Until he gave us the ACA. He gave us the ACA.
That's what I said, the trickle down. We get the trickle
down. That's the everybody thing. That's right. Black people don't really go to the doctor anyway. You know, Robitussin takes care of everything. We got our own home remedies.
And ginger ale. Tunisia says, what happened with Washington, D.C. becoming a state? You mean D.C.?
Well, here's the problem with that. Washington, D.C. was given to the Federalists by the state of Maryland. So technically, there is no mechanism to make D.C. a state. It would have to be given back to Maryland itself because that's what it originally came from. And I believe in not the Constitution, but it's a federal thing of how they do it. They would have to give that back. There's no way that area could become a state because it's not a territory.
More smoke screen stuff.
Yeah, it's not a territory, so it can't become a state. It's not even eligible to become a state.
And Dr. No Job, you say, don't forget about the confession of an economic hitman. You know what? I've been trying to find that book. I went to the bookstore. It wasn't there. I think I even went on Amazon. And you know what? Okay, wait. It is on Amazon, but I'm not going to pay over $100 for this damn book. But my little brother, he has it. I'm going to see if he can mail it to me. Or when I go back to California, I can get it from him. But yeah, I've been looking for that book, but I'm not gonna pay over no $100 for this book.
Yeah, keyword. You guys noticed that she said when Demetra said that when I go back to California, I think she's plotting her escape.
No, I got to visit my daddy and my family is out there, so I have to go back.
Sure, Demetra, sure.
Shut up, Donovan. Ridiculous Thought says, hashtag FFFFF. People will be now trying to claim minority status and thus ask the government for money and help. Yeah, that's why we got to stop calling ourselves that, right? We got to identify as Black people. Hey, Pam, how you doing? And Carmen says the census was a dog and whistle to white people. They totally disregarded Black people. I believe, as always, there are more Black people than they report. That is the word on the street. And I'm getting to the end, and then Donovan is going to give us his spiel. Let's see. I'm just going past the replies. And Pam says, home remedies, castor oil. And I know that was in reply to something. I don't remember what it is because it's comments, I'll be out in left field sometimes. Frank says they've been saying we're 13% for how long? Since the 60s. So yeah. And then Antoine, you say OHAS, system of corruption has always misrepresented the foundational Negro descendants of American slaves. You say survivors of American slavery. That's what we must have our own. Why we must have our own national census operated and ran by us only. Yeah, I mean, the census is part of the government. And if you do your research and you read, the government don't really love Black people like we think they love. Like they give Black people a lot of government jobs and stuff, right?
And notice when the census comes out, that's where the gerrymandering starts happening. If you think about it, if they underrepresent Black people, guess who loses out when it comes to voting and resources?
Yes. And Frank said DC is a city-state. The Pioneer says, what's happening in IT? I know I said the wrong, Haiti. He says, lately is depressing. I can understand weather, welfare, and earthquakes being man-made to cause destruction. What I don't understand is why it's being allowed to happen. Yeah, I mean, where's all, because that's what the U.S. says, oh, we got to go over there and help them get this and that. Why haven't they gone over there and helped Haiti rebuild? A lot of those homes that were destroyed or structures that were destroyed in 2010 have never recovered. A lot of those places in Haiti, it looks like it did in 2010, but they're so busy trying to help other nations, right? But yet it's just continuing to, go downhill. So you got to believe it's by design at one point in time.
Well, think about the symbolism of it. White supremacy will never help the first Black revolution that was successful in the Western Hemisphere. How would that make them look? Democrat or Republican? Because remember, I keep telling you guys, this is not about the Democrats or the Republicans. They are one people. White supremacy. That's the one thing they have in common. But we are the ones that fall for this. My team, your team, Lakers, Celtics, Bulls. No, these are one people. They are up there to uphold white supremacy, period.
And, as I call it, another us and them society. Like you said, you pit one against the other. So us and them, just like, and I'm not going to say it, but y'all know what I'm talking about with the, they've created another us and them. The ones that are and the ones that are not. And the ones that are saying, look at the ones that are not. They're the reason why this thing is back. So they've created another us and them. And so we got to be careful of that.
I don't care where it comes from. I don't care what's in it. I'm just going to stick my arm out and let them do what they will.
That was an older sister. He said she called it the infusion. I'm not going to ask what's in the infusion. I'm going to stick out my arm and I'm going to take the infusion.
Mass suicide. She's got to be out her damn mind. But that's what I'm saying. These are the people that we follow.
Oh, okay, let's see here. Okay, for real. Let's get to it. And again, if you guys are on Facebook in another room or whatever, you're watching this, you want me to read your comment, come on over. Eric says Amazon got it for $60.49. Oh, that's sounds like a great price.
$60.49? That sounds like a bill. I got
I do want it though, so I might break down.
I got to pay my boost phone bill.
I might break down and get it. My brother has it. I'll see if he'll part with it so I can read it and I'll send it back to him. But I do want that book, but the bookstores, they don't have it either. So, and LB says, identify as American descendants of chattel slavery, ADOS. They keep it at 13% by using culling the herd tactics. Okay. And I says Kamala is about to be president. I don't think Kamala's going to be president. I think she blew it. And Carmen says, Donovan, you be on point every single time. Yes, indeed. And the Pioneer says, I like most people used to believe there were more Black people in America than being reported, but a real enemy who were trying to decimate you would lie about your numbers so you wouldn't catch on. And Eric says, the weaponized natural disasters. Yes, indeed. Natural, using that word loosely, right? Carmen says exactly. And Carmen says, right on again, Donovan. Oops, where did that comment go? He said Republicans and Democrats are the same. Anton says, I call it OHAS system of corruption. Okay, and Tunisia, you're laughing. And Big Cannon says, the last time they had that major earthquake in 2010, the Salvation Army and the UN peacekeepers took a lot of ladies' innocence, had babies by them, and left the country. Wow. Way they found it. That's
there was a lot of stuff going on there that the UN, it was horrible. You could go on YouTube and they have actually documentaries on it. So if you guys,
but that's history though. They've done it everywhere, right? And Pammy says, "Yep, two wings of the same bird. Think of it as this way: no matter who we vote for, white supremacy will always win."
Well, they won't win when we stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe. If the Democrats lose election after election after election after election, and let's say they do this for 20 years, they're going to finally get the point because it's about power. I want it for a little bit. They want it for a little bit. I want it for a little bit. They want it. But if we say, okay, you know what? This side ain't going to get nothing. Then you're going to see legislation and things start changing because we now hold the cards. And we've always held the cards when it comes to politics. We've always held it. And that's the thing. But there's too many of us that want to play the game that we know we can't win.
Yes, indeed. And Albie says, isn't Hillary Clinton's brother still on a 30-plus year mining contract in Haiti? He was put there by Hillary when she was Secretary of State.
Yes, he has contracts there that are still sanctioned by the United States government and the State Department. They have that hotel. The Clinton Foundation was given they were given something like $300 billion to feed the people and help rebuild. They took a good portion of that money and built a hotel, a leisure hotel and golf course. That's what they did with the money.
Well, hopefully that got
accountable.
Hopefully that got leveled in the earthquake. Hopefully. And ridiculous thought. She says somehow they will find a way to blame Black Americans for the decline in their population. Okay, y'all mixing with us. Finder says, when I say allowed to happen, I'm speaking from a spiritual perspective. Why is the divine allowing these devils or even the weather to continue to afflict too much on the destruction and misfortune of Haiti? That's a good question. I mean,
I always think about it like this. Is it a bad thing that maybe the higher spirits want to take some of us out of here so we don't have to suffer as much as we've been suffering already?
I mean, you could look at it that way. Or you could look at it as we as Black people all over the world need to help each other. With all of the money, especially that we see in America, it's Black people, $1.3 trillion. There's no reason why we should be in the condition that we're in. And there's no reason that Africa should be in the condition that it's in, Haiti, or any other place where we do well. There's just no reason. We have to be smart about who we're voting for and who we trust. Africa is going through what I think a trust issue. How is it that you have a Chinese member of the parliament in South Africa? How did that happen? Why would you vote for that? You know, we're seeing a lot of, the Chinese going over there and either in missionary position, not missionary positions like that, but they're going over there in the name of the Lord Okay,
That's a good way to start, though. Missionary is a good place to start. Then you kind of move to other things.
they're going over there in the name of the Lord, right? And spreading Christianity and all of that. And it's like, we're just too trusting. And we've seen time and time again, no one has our best interest at heart. And a lot of times, not even our own leadership. So we just gotta start really uniting the diaspora instead of all this, schisms that we have going on. Otherwise, ain't none of us gonna make it.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear something horrific, they talk about Hitler and 6 million people and all this bull crap. Research and go look up on YouTube. There's documentaries on the Congo, the Belgian Congo. Look up the Belgian Congo and see how many black people suffered under that regime. And world powers, the United States, all these powers knew what this guy was doing and let it happen anyway. That's what they do. They come in there and they rape the resources out of the country. Matter of fact, right now, China is on the coast of Ghana. They gave them that coast, and they started raping that coastal area. And now they're fighting to get it back and saying, no, we're going to repeal these contracts, because the leader there gave them a deed for like 99 years or something so that they can have that area, and they're extracting it. It's a mess. But that's our leadership.
Yep. And Jonelle says, where is she now? Those who took the jab are dying. We'll post a report. Damn shame they're making billions off the jab. That's the people who take it can't sue them for. Yep, that's what they tell you. And Brotham, how are you doing? Brotham, how you doing? It says, hello, everybody. Black first. Yes, indeed. And the Pioneer says, I think what's happening is a spiritual thing going down in Haiti that won't be solved by aid or the Red Cross. I think the nation is divided from voodoo and Catholicism, and she must choose one. Okay. And Elvis says, don't forget the so-called soccer field, Brother Donovan. Shaking my head, such evil people. The Pioneer says, you can't serve two masters. Either you're going to serve the Caucasian religion or the deities, or your African religion and deities. You try to do both, and it creates spiritual confusion.
Or spiritual conflict.
Yes, indeed. And Elvis says, talk about it, Sister Demetra. I will. Big Candace says, Africa is the richest continent on the planet. It funds the world. Has anyone noticed that Ebola breaks out in the African Congo every year because the Congo has the rarest minerals in the world? Exactly. And the real LOC says, all part of the satanic elite agenda. Bottom line, end of the day, it's all about weaponry. That's where we need to start. And Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, I honestly, and it's Surge Girl 2, I hope I'm saying that right. You say facts, and how you doing? And Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, I honestly thought about what this.
Sorry, you know what that thing is? It's your girl.
I cannot read. Because these names be random. It's your girl too. Okay, how you doing? It's your girl. All right. Say facts, by the way. And Pioneer said, Brother Donovan, I honestly thought about what you said. Sometimes I wonder if this world is just a trial period for Black people, and the non-Blacks are part of the program, like a spiritual kindergarten. And again, Pioneer says, more in line with what the sister said, if the divine wants to remove you from the suffering and pain of this world, there are much more peaceful ways to do it, or better yet, just make us victorious. Hey, Stanley, what's going on with you? All right, Donovan. So what's your spiel on the census?
Well, okay, here's my thing on the census. Since our brother, the Pioneer, pretty much took my whole soliloquy down. Here's the one thing about the census. You hear about white people. Oh my God, the white population is declining. What a crime, right? But they've always intermixed with people. Thus, we have so many Black people that have white in them all around the nation, Spaniards and stuff like that. And you got Spanish people who still identify themselves as white, right? But when I was reading the report, Pioneer, and I know you read it, because you talked about everything that I was going to talk about. Did you notice in that report, Black people were not mentioned once? It was either Asian, white, or Hispanic. What is that telling you guys? Well, what's it telling me is they do not plan to have us matter anymore. All of these things are coming together. Joe Biden said before he became president, when he was talking to those Black folks, you Negroes are going to have to get in line behind these Hispanics. I do believe we are undervalued and undercounted to keep the resources from flowing into our communities and all that other stuff. This is all by design, but yet we have black faces in Congress that are doing nothing about this stuff. So what we have to start realizing is we need to get our shit together, because at the rate that they are doing and how they're treating us, they are positioning us to be, and I believe this already, we're already a permanent underclass. But when we have no economic power and then we have no political power, we are now a problem. And that's what I think was unique about that situation. I mean, and I read different articles on it. Not once was black people mentioned, not once. And I think the Black Authority talked about that yesterday as well. Not once are black people mentioned in these articles about the census. We need to be cautious when that happens, because we are the third or fourth biggest. I mean, we're bigger than Asians currently. How do you not mention us, but you mention the Asian group? So something to think about.
So also, there's been a decline. So I'm just going to try to pull it together. There's been a decline in white population over the last 10 years since the last time they took the decennial census. You guys know the decennial census had a little hiccup this last time around due to the pandemic. And so they discovered that the population of white people has slowed down, and specifically their younger people, they're finding that is less and less younger white people, right? And they said the growth is attributed to Latino, Asian, Black. So it did say Blacks in there, the population growth. But now, of course, we're probably still going to be at 13% for a lot of reasons you guys noted. Maybe it's a conspiracy that they keep wanting us to think that we are less in numbers. But you guys, follow the breadcrumbs. What are Republicans always yelling about? No, they want to get rid of abortion, right? They want to get rid of abortions. Now, disproportionately, black women have more, and I said the word disproportionately, more abortion than any other woman in the United States. Last time I checked, it was to the tune of about 35%. To that of white women, that was 36%. So on the surface, you would say, well, that's just still white women are having more abortions. Well, if you look at their numbers, they, make up, white people about 50-ish% of the population, maybe 60, I don't know. And so they're part of that group. Now, black people and black women make up about, collectively with black men, 13% of the population. So if you look at that number again, black women are actually having more abortions per the amount or the percentage of black people that they are. I hope that wasn't confusing. And so when you hear Republicans say stuff like, oh, well, we need to get rid of the, abortions, we need to outlaw it and make it illegal. On one hand, you would think, well, if we allow it to go on, then we'll get rid of black people, right? Because a lot of black babies have been aborted. It says more than that was lost to this point in the Vietnam War. But on the other hand, if it's legal, then they get rid of a lot of white babies too. And so it's like throwing out, the baby with the bathwater type of thing. Well, if we keep abortions and allow black women to continue to abort their babies at alarming rates, then that means that white women do it too. Now, if they believe these numbers, and if it's not a dog whistle, Pioneer, which I kind of think it probably is too, if they believe these numbers, then they're saying, okay, we are in big trouble. We are not going to be the dominant society anymore. Now, we've also heard of the browning of America, right? We've heard that for years. Well, we're starting to actually see that manifest, and they're seeing it manifest, right? And so it's not really more so that they want to control women's bodies. They want to control the population and make sure that they are still on top. Now, I can talk about it now because I'm not working there anymore, but I used to work for the census, and I worked for the, it was the employment survey, if you will. And I would see people who, to me, because I couldn't tell them how to identify with, right? It was actually the current population survey is what it was. And it dealt with employment as well. But I couldn't tell them what they were. I had to ask them, what do you identify as? A lot of times they were Hispanic and they would say white. They would say that they were white. And so that counts. So you can identify with whatever you want. There is no hard and fast, like Or I say, well, what are you? And you're black and you say I'm white. I can't say, no, clearly you're white. I have to mark it down, right? And so there's a lot of that going on too. And they do. So if they say if we count mixed people with black people, then we're about 17% of the population. Because, you know, mixed people can identify as whatever they want, or they can identify as both. So there's a lot going on there. But if you really just listen to what people are saying, especially in politics, and you listen to the census numbers, you know, connect the dots. Connect the dots. So I'm going to get to you guys' comments. Let's see here. Pioneer says, I'm sorry to go off subject, Queen, but that situation down there is just a bit depressing. Yo, it really is depressing. I saw it yesterday, and I couldn't do no but shake my head. I couldn't believe it, actually, you know. And it's your girl says, right, laugh out loud. And Pioneer says, preach, Donovan, I think you're heading in my direction. It's your girl. He said, I've been here just in the clouds. Okay, well, we're glad that you popped up in the comment section. Always nice to see other people comment as well. Pioneer says they're doing the same thing in the sense as they did in the movies when they kill all black characters. It's a form of devaluing you by saying the only time you're mentioned as an underdog. Yes, indeed. And LB says, speak, Donovan, this so-called CBC, Congressional Black Caucus, needs to be dismantled and or completely overhauled with people who have our best interests. Eliminate those sellouts that are there. A lot of them have been there for years, and they ain't going nowhere because they know, you know, their constituents are going to continue to vote them in. On the streets, I'm just being black.
Yeah, I will never understand how you can sit here and see these younger people complaining about, you see it in movies. Oh, our neighborhood's all messed up. This is trash everywhere, crime, cars just on yards, you know, I mean, it looks at liquor stores everywhere. And yet you have, okay, let's say I'm a 16-year-old kid. You hear the younger kids talk about it all the time. One thing about younger people is they're very honest, especially children. They're very honest in what they're saying. But yet there's a person that's 80-something years old representing that area that think there's nothing wrong with it. And a good example would be like Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters isn't even a baby boomer. She's a silent majority group. She's in that group, and she's still in office. I'm not saying, you know, you can't run for office, but I don't believe in a professional politician. That should not be allowed. If we have term limits for the president, we should have term limits for these congressmen. If you're a senator, no more than 18 years. That's 3 terms.
That's too long, shit.
No, but that's 3. But that's 3 terms. That's all you get is 3 terms, and then you get some experience, and you got some.
Maybe 2.
Okay, well, let's just do 2. As a congressman, 10 years, then you got to go. You know, but
yeah, because as you're seeing it, they're not bringing any new ideas. It's the same old, the same stuff they was doing back in the 60s, you know, or 70s or 80s, whenever they got in office. They're just doing the same thing.
Yeah, there was an interview with Jim Clyburn. He was at a town hall, and a young man questioned him in regards to bringing stuff to the floor in regards to black people. He had no answer. He had no answer whatsoever.
And then the other people, the baby boomers in the room was like, how dare you? Now, how you doing? You says, why do they want more black babies born? I don't get it. Well, I don't know who the they is, but we know that they, being white supremacy, do not want more black babies born. Go back to the eugenics. When eugenics first came in, Margaret Sanger, she was the creator and spearheaded Planned Parenthood. And the goal was to get rid of the downtrodden in society, including that of black people, because after slavery, we were a liability. We were no longer an asset. And so they did things like sterilization, you know, abortions, and just a whole host of things to get rid of black babies. Now, we, being the they, we want more black babies so that we can increase in population. That's what the Hispanics did. They said they were going to take back this country by overpopulating it. And that's exactly what they did. You can't raise your population if you keep killing the babies. That's just
killing each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, you know, because here in California, I sometimes look at some of these young Hispanic girls, and I don't want to stereotype, but I look at some of these girls, they're not even 20, 21 years old, and they already have 2 to 3 kids. They're walking around with 2 or 3 kids, and they're not even 20, 23 years old.
Yeah. Well, we need to get a support system that's able to help them or educate them, right? And in to teach the daddies to stick around. That's a whole different conversation.
Right. And then you got to remember, what was Trump trying to say? He introduced changing the Constitution to say that just because you're born here, these anchor babies. No. He said, no, we need to get rid of that so that, if you come here and you're not a citizen, just because you have a baby here doesn't mean you are naturalized. And that would help stop the immigration and the browning of America.
Yep. And Pioneer says, Queen, when Caucasians are against abortion, they meant white abortions. They only protest at clinics in Caucasian neighborhoods, not Black or Latino ones. The plan is to increase the white population all day long, all day. But how do you legally just get rid of abortion for white people? Now, of course, we know eugenics is there, but they can't say that. Well, we're just going to get rid of abortion legally for white people. Everybody else have at it. They can't do that. See what I'm saying? So I was like, what do you do? And the real LOC, you say America, a merger Indo-Caucasian Aryan nation. Better believe it. Donovan say controlled opposition, Dems versus Republican is the same group. Yes, indeed. Artemis, how are you doing? Says, hey guys, are you back on Sunday and not Friday now? Welcome back. Or both Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We are here. Thursday,
Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. 213. Just think of the group 213. 2 o'clock on Thursdays, 1 o'clock on Fridays, and 3 o'clock today on Sunday.
Pacific time. Yeah, Pacific time. So Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Yes, indeed. And y'all say you put it down there. Okay, cool. And Martin says, now I'm back, Demetra. In the census poll, Caucasian percentages. Let's see. Where'd it go? Okay, I'm getting to it. I promise. Let me read past these. Okay, Caucasian percentages is dropping dramatically, and yet they can falsely accuse you of anything and have you serve in jail time. Let's not forget that ever. Jonelle says everybody's shooting their gun, making babies except the white nation after spring break. It's a lot of white abortions. Ooh. And LB says they will do to Black women in the U.S. what they did and possibly still doing to the females in Africa. They sterilize young girls without their approval and knowledge via the jab. Yes, indeed. Still going on. Just don't hear about it as much, right? Pioneer says it's a dog whistle. I see just as many white folks walking around now as I saw 20 years ago. Every 20 years, they say people with blonde hair and blue eyes, quote unquote, will be bred out, and they're still here. Of course.
Well, what about the Black women with the blue hair and the
you know what?
Never mind.
Wrong show. now it says maybe some Asians and some Hispanics say they're white, and with our numbers suppressed, whites are down. Oh, yes, indeed. Even with some people saying I'm white when they're clearly Asian, right? Hey, Phil, how you doing? And you say illegal. Yes, indeed. He says illegal immigration is the issue. Biden has literally opened the floodgates, but he makes sure to deport Haitians, though. Abortion is also why we're in trouble as a people. Yes, indeed. Yeah, they see the boat from Haiti coming over. They're like, no, push it back, push it back.
As a matter of fact, the Coast Guard has a mandate that if they're Black, make them go back. But you don't see the news talking about that. It's very rare.
Yes, indeed. And while we're here, y'all, pick this up. 7 Steps to the Colonizer Mind by Philip Scott of the African Diaspora News Channel. Pick it up on Amazon. It is a great read. I promise you, it will definitely change your mind, open your mind, and help you to decolonize your mind, which is what we need as a people. All right. And let's see here. And Robin says, my biracial niece and nephews identify as white because their mothers are white. Yeah, and they can do that. In a sense, it's like I said, you can identify whatever you want. And Robin says, good evening, Phil. Welcome. Yes, indeed. The Pioneer says another reason for them reporting so much on every publication that the white population is declining is it gives the government an excuse to import more white Eastern Europeans. Yes, indeed. And you heard Trump say it. You heard what he said about the African countries, and they wanted to bring in more white people. So they know what's going on.
Yeah, not just the African countries. He was talking about even some Black controlled districts.
Baltimore and all of that, right? Get rid of them.
Maxine Waters area, S whole district.
LB says exactly, Brother Donovan. Everybody is saying hello to Phil. And RY, how you doing? He says 10 years, not 18. 10 years, not 18. As somebody said, I probably did. And Mario, how you doing? He says,
oh, they're talking about term limits. They're talking about term limits.
Oh, yes. Okay, term limits. Yeah. Yeah, 18 is a long time. I mean,
you know, for senators, it's only 3 terms, though.
Yeah, but 18 years. You know,
look at some of them. They're in there 26 years, 24 years,
30 something.
Yeah, you know, you got to go by 6.
I mean, Joe Biden spent what, almost 50 years before he got to be the president in, you know, as a senator.
No, he spent about 38 years as a senator. 38 years.
Yeah, so close, and then the rest. I mean, but he still was in Washington, right? So, and Mario, you say yes, term limits for Congress. Yes, indeed. Like 2 and done. You know, I'm down with 1 even, okay? And ridiculous thoughts say, I say, once you reach Social Security age, you have to get out of government, right? Then there's this, well, that's ageism. You can't discriminate against people's age. And so,
but you know, we shouldn't have to carry you out in a casket on the job either.
Right. You're right about that. And Carmen says, yep. And LLP RS, Most High, how you doing? And LB says, no, all baby boomers, I think you meant not all baby boomers think like those who are status quo. I'm a baby boomer, and I totally hate what their mindsets are. Yeah, that's true. It's not all baby boomers.
No, yeah, we're not an all-inclusive type thing. So, yeah, it's not all of them. Like I say, even my mother, who's a baby boomer, she can't even defend what the Democrats are doing right now because she's like, okay, you know, a good impression of my mama. We black people always have been helping everybody else. We're in the civil rights movement because of us. We help everybody. Okay, Mom, he's helped everybody now. What is the excuse for us not getting our executive orders? Oh, I can't explain that. Yeah, you're a little bit right about that. So yeah, not everybody. And you know, some baby boomers are coming around because you can't defend the bullshit. You just can't.
Oh, and thank you, Pioneer, for the donation. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the suggestion. You rock. And you said another great show, Queen and King. Y'all come on 3 days a week for second action, 2 action-packed hours, and the comments still roll on at the end of the show. Yes, indeed. And you want us to come on some more. And Artemis should say, like you said before, the old politicians need to be termed out of office. Yes. And Mark, how you doing? He says, yes, but then they could say all black people are not citizens.
But we could say the same thing about them because they all immigrated here. We could say the same thing.
But who wields the power, though?
That's why you better arm yourself legally if you can.
Well, I'm just saying, even with the pen, right? And RY said 213, like the area code in Los Angeles.
Yeah, okay. Pacific Standard Time. So that are the times. Thursdays at 2, Fridays at 1, and Sundays at 3 Pacific Standard Time. 213.
Yes, indeed. 213. Okay, that went over my head. And now it says having kids while young is natural and proper. Having kids after 25 to 30 means a doctor will be necessary, and they do things to the egg. Okay, and TJ said, my daughter's like, what? She's looking. TJ says, brothers and sisters, please stop swirling. It's detrimental to our success and survival, in my opinion. Okay, and LLPRS Most High says, we're under systematic attack, so we must have a systematic defense. Yes, indeed. We got to get on the same page first, right? The Pioneer says, there are some Latinos who are actually white. Many Mexicans have no indigenous ancestry and are straight Spanish. And down in Florida, most of the Cubans are white. Don't get caught up in their labels. But
right,
they're
exactly.
people, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have a friend that she's Cuban, right? She's a white Cuban. And her biggest thing is, well, the communism. Who cares about a person label themselves a communist? What does it have to do with them being a human being? Communism is a form of government. We have communists in China that we do business with all the time. But see, those kind of people confuse communism with, because I asked her straight out. She's Cuban, right? A white Cuban. I said, well, Mary, could you please explain to me, why do the black Cubans love Fidel and yet you hate him? And the blacks are the majority of the Cubans. She could never answer that question.
Right, exactly. Good question. And now you say make Puerto Rico and DC states. Okay. And Phil, you say most Europeans don't want to come here for a few reasons. We don't have free health care. We also don't give 6 weeks paid vacation holiday.
Yep, absolutely.
True.
Absolutely. And then, you know, if you really think about it, Phil, it's not just a lot of them. If they do come here, they get dual citizenship. Why can't I be a member of an African country and get dual citizenship?
Well, I think you can, can't you?
Well, you got to go through whatever their steps are over there to do it. But it ain't like, you know, I could claim, well, you know, I'm African American. Let me just be, you know, Congolese.
Right. So. Jafaya again. You said, good evening, Dee and Donovan. They got me again. I have to stay out of the white newsrooms. Yes, indeed. And how you doing, by the way? Pioneer says Latino isn't a race, but an ethnic group. Many of our people aren't properly educated, and this easily confuses them. Many Latinos in New York are Black, and many in Florida are white. Very true. And Frank says millions of Black babies aborted from 73 till now. Shaking my head. Black women, love yourselves. If you don't love your own children, you know you don't love yourself. Yeah, I think there's a little bit more to it than that. But we'll get into it at another time because that topic is always kind of heated, but I get what where you're going with that. We should not be killing that many babies at all, right? And Artemis says Joe Biden have 47 years in government. Yeah, nearly 50. And Anais says casket ready senator. Right. From my cold dead hands.
Do you guys realize the average age of the Democratic leadership? The Democratic leadership is 73 years old. The average age of the CBC is 71 years old. So you tell me what the problem is. You guys tell me.
Exactly. And Marnie says, I can tell you this much, Demetra. I've been around in different states and in a lifetime have traveled to a few countries, those that are biracial in some incidents, emotionally unbalanced and unstable. And let's see here. And Marnie says, again, many can identify Demetra as a warrant, but the fact still remains that all one drop of Black blood. If you don't believe me, ask Meghan Markle. Oh, okay. Is in all what you decide you want to do and how you want to do it. Okay. And now you say, and young Black women from serial killing, do tell. And let me see. Let me get to some of the other comments. And Frank says, no, he says Robin Dam. And Pioneer says, I'm going to tell people not to have sex with other races. They're going to do what he said, I'm not going to tell them not to have sex with other races. They're going to do what they're going to do. My thing is let us accurately label people and their offspring so as not to cause confusion. Okay. And now says good talk. Thanks. No, thank you. And tonight says, I honestly believe folks want more days from you guys is because fantastic content. So great job, Demetra and Donovan. Well, thank you. We'll entertain another day. We just kind of, like our freedom a little bit, but we'll entertain another day. Maybe not a permanent day, but here and there, if that's okay.
If you guys notice that sometimes when something really jumps off, we'll get on and talk about it on that jump off day or whatever it is. So,
all right, so we're gonna round it up here. And the morning you say, Demetra, time for you and Donovan to get you a podcast so I can subscribe and be there every week with you. I'd love to do a universal astrological reading for the U.S. How do I go about that with you? Well, we used to have a podcast, but the pandemic wouldn't let us be great, and then I moved. So I don't know how we would do that. I guess Donovan will probably figure out how to do a podcast. But
yeah, well, I still do the podcast on my side. So you guys just look up. I'm on iHeartRadio and all that other stuff. And without Demetra chastising me, I'm myself. Okay,
without my elbow to his ribs. All right, and so Pioneer says this goes more into the topic of Kamala and how a woman with very little African ancestry is being promoted by the media as the first Black woman VP. Under accurate labeling, she wouldn't be called such. Well, that is to her advantage, and we know that. The morning says currently we have had Carl Levin, who just passed away. He was in office for quite a few years, and though he's Caucasian, he never did much, but he gets the recognition because of his Jewish background. Okay.
Him and his brother in Michigan, his brother was in the House and he was in the Senate, or either or, we'll switch it around, whatever. They were there for years. But hey, they're white Jews. So there was no problem. I mean, you can do that if everything is good for your people. My problem,
yeah, you helping your people, yeah.
My problem is we got people that are up there that don't do Maxine. I can only talk about Maxine because she's the closest person to where I'm at. Nothing. Zero. She gentrified her own area and let it happen. Black people are homeless out here or fleeing in mass droves.
But she going to Washington to get reparations.
And how are you a congressman? Maxine Waters is one of the few congressmen that isn't a Mitt Romney who has a company, mass fortune and stuff like that. Maxine Waters gets chauffeured to Congress in a limo every day. Every day.
Right.
How does that look? And you're a servant.
Thunder, how you doing? He says, what did I miss? You missed almost the whole show. We about to get out of here. I don't know why you're not getting alerts, but I hope it's fixed so you can be here and party with us. And so Monty says, so I'm all for term limits. I don't think these people should do even 10 years. I think they should have no more than a maximum of 6 and let new people come in so that we are replenishing constantly. I agree with you on that one. And yes, indeed, Jonelle, peace on to you as well. And Marty says, Donovan, how are you handling the new lockdown again in California with the mask mandate? I heard that is really chaotic. Is that true? Same thing for you. To meet you, how are you handling it in Texas?
Ain't nothing but a thing like a chicken wing. People are going to do what they want to do, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. And for me, I don't really go anywhere anyway, so I'm not Texas ain't locking nothing down. You can believe that. Jafia, you say have a fantastic week, everybody. And same to you. And Thunder says we need more of you too. Okay, we're gonna try to get us some AI. Demetra and Donovan's going on. Pioneer says, Queen, let me be real. One of the reasons your show is so popular and gaining popularity by the week is because you read every comment, and that kind of attention strokes the egos of most people. Well, I thank you for that. I didn't do it to stroke the egos of people, though. I did it because I feel like you guys should be included in the show as well. I know I hate watching people's live feeds, and they don't even acknowledge the people in the comment section at all. Just talk. And so we like to view this as a conversation. You guys notice I call you guys the other side of the conversation because you are. Donovan and I don't know everything. We learn just as much from you guys, as the stuff that we put out. And so you guys are really the third host, if you will. So we thank you guys for that. And then one says, let me be clear, if you're blessed and you have that money, you can have a child after 20, 30, even into your 50s, depending on your health and your wealth. That tells it all. Let's be clear. Yes, indeed. And the real LOC. Yes, indeed. Thank you, everybody. And stay safe. No, thank you. And Artemis says, how do you like living in Texas with the present situation there? It's an adjustment from living in Southern California, but I love the cost of living out here. That's hard to beat. I'm a California girl, been there my whole life, and the cost of living in California, well, Donovan to tell you, some places gas is $6 a gallon. Here it still is. I guess people are saying it's high, but even in California, I don't remember the last time I paid $2.79 for gas.
Yeah, I think that was a year after we left high school. That went
right. So so it's an adjustment, but the cost of living, you can't beat it. So and Carmen says Maxine Waters should have been gone. Yes, indeed.
Still there and working on reparations. It's been 30 years and she's working on it.
Yeah, right. And Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, you are very politically astute. You remember the Levine brothers, Carl and Sandy from Michigan. I met Sandy Levine before at a Whole Foods and had a brief conversation with him. And then Moni said, Donovan has a sip of my have a sip of my chocolate wine. I look at you in the handsome hat and I think, what a gorgeous brown sugar. I think you're just gorgeous. I hope you have a wonderful week, Demetra. Your golden glow. Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm gonna have to try some chocolate wine. And Artemis says Maxine Waters. Auntie Maxine is 80 years plus and old, and she can't drive. Well, I don't think it's probably advisable. Well, she does drive sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. She's 83 years old. And the thing is, though, if you're that old and, shouldn't you be enjoying your family and, getting ready for the next life and all that other stuff? Why would you want to be involved in all this stuff and you're ineffective? That's the thing. And you're ineffective.
One thing I've learned in life, and hear me when I say this, there is never enough of more. And that's why they do it. They want more money. It's greed. There's never enough of more to greedy people, especially. And I used to say, let's talk music. Donovan Jodeci made no musical. Enlighten me. How about we talk music the next time?
Yeah, the next time I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna write that down.
And Jafai says, Demetra,
I'm gonna keep research it.
Yes. Jafai says, Demetra, I love your reason for reading all the comments. We appreciate you as well. Yes, indeed. I've always done it. So thank you guys. All right. So let me move past some of these other comments so I can get out of here. Donovan and Pioneer says, be careful with the mask thing. A lot of these races are against the wearing of masks because it prevents them from actively spreading the virus, which even the FBI said white supremacy are doing. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm going to stay home as much as I can. Thunder says, and you can start a book list of books that are must read and a movie list for Black empowerment. Yes, indeed. Donovan told me once, you need to start a book club. Yeah, I'll just tell you guys what I'm reading at the time.
Can't tell a Black woman nothing, though. See what I'm saying?
Shut up. And Pam says, I hope you both have a great week, and I will tune in next Sunday to listen to the show. And thank you so much. And TJ says, I appreciate you, Sister Demetra and Brother Donovan. We appreciate you as well. And LB says, many thanks to both of you. I really enjoyed this session now. As a baby boomer, I need a nap. Peace and blessings to all. NFAC for life supporter. Yes, indeed. And maybe one day you could tell us how Brother Grandmaster Jay is doing. I hope he's doing well. And Moni say, I'll say this, and you tell me what you think, Donovan, is more of us start going back to the various parts of African continent and Caribbean islands. I bet any amount of money, they will prevent it. Yes, indeed.
Yes, but you got to remember that most of us that are going to be moving to those different places are financially sound to do so.
If I had $5 and I needed to get out of here, I'm going, okay? All of these are my passport and a plane ticket, okay? Hell, I even jump on a boat going that way, not coming back this way, okay? And Artemis say, I love you guys and keep up the good work. See you guys next week. And we love you too. Thank you so much. And Anais says, Jodeci made no musical sense. Oh, you're saying, I'm just saying, okay? And lastly, the Pioneer says, notice how FBI put out a report a year ago that back in February 2020, that white supremacists were targeting populations to spread the virus, but that isn't being talked about at all in the media. Wow.
Well, I just want to say this real quick, and I notice this a lot. You see our young Black kids out there without masks. I don't give a damn if your child is like 5 years old, whatever, mask the damn child up.
Yeah, put a mask on. Yes, I agree. All right, y'all. And PTP the Smith, I know I said that wrong, but how you doing? He says, we don't have a tribe. Okay. And Yvette, how you doing? He says, on the way to the continent now. Take us with you. And Carmen says, love you guys and your content during the week. I will listen while working. This weekend I have a nap, so it's a treat. I will be able to tune in. Yes, indeed. All right, y'all. That was it. We thank y'all so much for being here, for being the other side of the conversation, YouTube and Facebook. You guys are awesome. We will be back here Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Time. 4 p.m. Central Time. I don't know if we'll come back one other day throughout the week, but definitely we'll be back here on Thursday. As always, if you guys have something you want us to talk about, try to message us somehow so that we can get it, research it, and talk about it. It doesn't always have to be politics. Like last Friday, we talked about horror movies since it was Friday the 13th, right? We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Also, thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything you do behind the scenes and making the show go further.
Big shout out to Phil from the African Diaspora Channel.
Yes, to Phil, please go. I'm telling y'all, go pick this book up. Easy read. It's a day read. As my daughter says, it's a day read. You can read it in one day. See, I like to highlight my books. Yeah, it's just a bad habit that I have, or a good habit. Read this book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind by Philip Scott. Get it on Amazon. You will not regret it. So yes, indeed. Thank y'all. And thank you, Donovan, for everything you do, the recovering Democrat. Maybe one day he'll be out of recovery. And, I don't know what is taking him so long. I don't know.
I'm waiting for the rest of y'all. Y'all need help. Not you guys, but.
Yes, indeed. All right, y'all. So again, we will see y'all on Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Time. You guys be safe out there because that thing is still running around. Keep your head on swivel. And always remember that you are Black first. Peace.